Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show people how I make my display banners. So I started making banners for displays when I realised how much time it takes to individually cut out each letter, and especially if you've got a very long title, it can be a real strain on your time to cut out all of the individual letters, and especially if you want them laminated as well, it can just be a really big job. So when I've got a longer title for my display, I tend to always go towards a banner. So here's just some examples of the different banners that I've made. So as you can see here, this is a very long title for a display. So if I was going to individually cut out all of these letters, it would take a very long time. And so there's loads of different types of banners that you can create on Publisher, and it's really just down to the pictures that you can find on Google, and you can make it any way that you want. So as I said, I'm making this on Publisher. So if I go to a new document, when you open Publisher, you are presented with this option of having A4 portrait, A4 landscape, or more blank paper sizes, and that's the button you're going to want to press. Then if you scroll down, you'll have a section called Custom, and this is where you can design and make your own paper size. So this is where you need to measure the exact measurements that you want your banner to be on your display. So as you can see, I've got loads of different examples here of all the different banners that I've made over the years. But what you would do if you were first making a banner is go to Create New Page Size. And this is where you would input your exact measurements. Okay, so you can name it to save your template for future reference. So if it's going to be a template that you use quite often, if it's the same display board that you will keep rotating, then I would highly recommend naming your template so that you can just next time click on your display template and it'll bring it straight up. And so you would input the width, input the height, and then click OK and create. For the purposes of this, I'm just going to use a size that I've already used before and click create. So your first job is to decide on your background. Now, my personal preference is when I'm editing a banner, I always like my margins to be set to narrow, just so that it gives me that little bit more room on the paper. So to get your background, all you need to do, go into Google and type in the background that you are wanting. If it's a very big banner, you're going to want to make sure that the picture is really high quality. So go on to settings, tools, and size, and large. And this is going to present all the biggest pixel quality, the highest quality pictures to you first. So just having a look through, just all we need to do is pick the design that we want. I quite like this blue and purple one. So then all I would do, right click, copy image, and go into my Publisher and paste. And drag it to the edge of the paper. Now, a top little trick I learned just to make sure that you don't lose any quality in your picture. When you print it, you don't want it to be pixelated. So you can see here I've got a little bit of the page left that the natural sizing of the picture hasn't filled. So I would copy and paste the image again and then rotate and just flip horizontal so that when I line the pictures up now, it looks like the picture has just continued, so that I'm not stretching out the image and distorting the quality, and then just crop to the size of the page. So now you can see, if you didn't know, you wouldn't have realised that that is not part of the original image, and I've not reduced the quality of the image at all. So it's not going to go pixelated when I print it off. So now it's down to personal preference. If you would like a banner like this with a little bit of a white translucent box in the centre, all that would be is insert, shapes, And I'm just going to drag any shape that I want. Now I know the exact size of this piece of paper, so I know that the height is exactly 12. So if I wanted a 1 centimetre border all the way around the edge, I would just put in 10 centimetres. Obviously, if I wanted a little bit more of a border, I could do 9 centimetres, and the same would apply to the width. I know the width of this piece of paper is exactly 42. So if I wanted a 1 centimetre border all the way around the outside, I would just put 40. If I wanted a little bit more of a border, I could make the width a little bit smaller, so that I know when I centre this in the middle, it will have that exact border all the way around the outside. And just using the guidelines that are automatic, you can see the pink purple line that's come now in the middle. That's telling me that the shape is exactly in the centre there. And just keep going until I see the next line. Alternatively, you can just go to align and align relative to margins, so that when I align it in the centre and align it in the middle, I know that that is exactly in the centre. Now, just to get that slightly transparent aspect, I would make it white with no outline. And then there's a little square with a little arrow coming out of it here that's the format shape extra options. Now, when you click this, it's this top section you're going to want to look at, where your fill transparency. And I'm going to change that to about 25%. So now you can see it's just letting a little bit of that image through. And from there, it would just be a case of insert text box and typing out your display banner. And obviously you can change the font to whatever you would like, whatever suits your display, whatever suits the type of display that you're going for. Or if your school has a designated font that you need to use, this is where you would just pick whichever one that you want. Obviously the same rules apply of just changing the colours, making it fit wherever you like. And going through them all, as I said, it's just a case of changing my favourite font, and I would just make that really big and to suit wherever I need. And obviously, as it's a text box, I can see it's a little bit low, so I can just drag that a little bit taller just to make it a little bit centered so that it is exactly how I want it. Okay, and it's the same with if you didn't want that little box in the middle, it would just be a case of drawing the text box, typing in the text that you want. I've still inserted that rectangle. I've just made the shape fill with no fill, and I've just made the outline very thick to give it, if I wanted that edge border. So just to show you how to change that, if I go back, just drag this out of the way for a moment. If I wanted that edge border, format, no fill, and then I would make my outline very, very thick. And the same would apply if I want that to be even thicker. Using the little additional format shape tools, I would go down to width and just make that as big as you want it to be. Let's go for 15. So you can see now it's got a really, really thick border. Just going to make that a little bit lighter so that we can see it a little bit better. And just dragging that to the edge of the picture. And again, depending on the thickness of this could already be your border, so that you didn't need to reback it. If you wanted to double back it afterwards when you were actually putting it on display, you wouldn't need to. And then again, just putting that in the center. I could just align, as I said, using this button up here, align center, and put it exactly in the middle. Okay, so once you've got your banner exactly as you want it, it now comes down to printing. So if I go to File and Print, all you need to do is make sure that you're setting is on tiled, because this automatically splits your document into separate pages. So it's just down to personal preference whether you want it portrait or landscape. Sometimes if you can see now I've got it on landscape, I've only got one join in the middle, whereas when I had it on portrait before, I obviously had two. So set that back to landscape. And all I would do is click print, and then when it prints off, I would cut one, because you can see on the piece of paper here it does leave the white edge. It leaves about a 1 centimetre edge of the picture left. And so when it's printed, it's just a case of, with your guillotine, or if you're really good with a pair of scissors, cutting one side off and sticking the banner together, which is a lot easier than individually cutting out all of the letters. Okay. So I really hope that was helpful for some people. I'm happy to help if that didn't make sense, or if anybody needs any additional help.